So first off, yes, there will be like this much amount of spoilers. So if the dust would let me be, great. Now, when I originally, you know, envisioned, manifested this YouTube channel, y'all gonna hear that the whole time, huh? It is what it is. That's that black girl magic. I wasn't sure if I was gonna fully dive into the entertainment thing, but it kind of looks like it's going that way, because that's what I want to talk about. We're gonna talk about the Ultimatum, which is something that was on my list. If you don't know what the list is, click right up here. See, I know where the things are now. Click right up here to go watch the list from April 2022. Okay, so we're gonna talk about episodes 1 through 3 first, and then I'll talk about what I think they have. 5 through 8 is the next 3 that they released this week, and then this will go out, and then next week we'll talk about the other half or whatever. So the Ultimatum is a spin-off of Love is Blind, which is a show about people who meet in these little like pods, these like cubicle pods, and then when they meet they get engaged and like this whole thing. It's on the same, like in the same realm of like Married at First Sight, you know, that kind of stuff. So if you're into that, you're probably gonna be into the Ultimatum. It is a Netflix original, and that's what we're talking about. Let's talk about Madlyn. My first impressions of Madlyn are she's not really messing with Kobe all too much. Like even before they start splitting up and they did all that, when they were in an interview, sis just looked uncomfortable. Like she didn't look like she wanted to be there. And not that she didn't want to be there to do the experiment, because she seemed really excited about the experiment, but she didn't seem that excited about Kobe. And maybe I'm just reading that incorrectly, but like that's the vibes I'm getting from sis. So my prediction is that she doesn't end up getting with Kobe, and we'll just see what happens with that. But that's what I think. I think even if she doesn't end up getting with somebody that she stays with, at the end of the day, at the end of this show, she will not be with Kobe. That's my thoughts. Let me know if y'all agree. Another thing I do want to say about Madlyn, she's been very adamant about the fact that like she doesn't, her biggest hold up is like, oh, like there can't be this one person that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. And I know this is going to be a little bit controversial, but I tend to agree with her. I personally don't believe in soulmates. Like, and if I do believe in soulmates, I think that you can have more than one. I do not. I think it's a little unrealistic, a little naive maybe, to think that there is one other person out in the world for you. Like you can be compatible with a bunch of other people. You're probably never gonna meet a lot of them, but to say that there's this one, like you might find that one person who you really, really love and vibe with, but I don't think that that makes them the only person. And that's kind of her hang up, and I don't disagree with her on that. Like there could be a bunch of other people that you vibe with, and making the decision to say yes to one person is scary. So I agree with my girl on that. Another thing that I noticed from jump, a lot of the men who were given the ultimatum, what we gonna call them? The ultimates? The ultimates? We gonna call them the ultimates. The ultimates, the men, a lot of their biggest reason was finances. I'm not financially stable yet. I don't feel like I'm in a good place. And I found that interesting. That's okay. The truck had an opinion. The motorcycle had an opinion. I find that interesting that that's such a big factor, because like, what are you gonna wait till you're like a billionaire? Like what is the amount that you have to have before you to say that finances is not a decision, is not a factor in your decision whether or not to get married? And that is not to say that that's not important. It is extremely important. Nobody wants to be on the struggle bus, no matter how people glamorize struggling, getting it out the mud, all that stuff, lifting yourself up by the bootstraps. It's not cute. So I 100% get it. Like, yes, get your finances straight, but like there needs to be a cutoff. You can't just keep saying for like 40 years like it's the finances. Like at a certain point you just gotta do it, right? You just gotta, can I Nike? You just gotta do it. Okay, let's see what other notes I got here. Okay, so let's talk about Jake. So the funny thing about Jake is that he kind of looks a little bit like a younger brother of my significant. Like when I saw him, I was like, oh, like that looked like you younger, like even down to the eyes. So it's kind of weird saying Jake, but from State Farm.
It's Jake from State Farm.
But I like Jake. So yeah, we're talking about first 3 episodes. I can mention this. Here comes my first official spoiler. I really like Jake and Ray together. Like I want them. They have so much in common, from their moms, how much they both care about their moms, down to their family values. Like I really want to see them make this happen. And I know that's kind of messed up to say because he came with April, but when I look at Jake and April, I don't see them, like I don't know how they got together. You know what I mean? Like it just don't feel like they're that couple to me. I don't know. And I don't really see it. I'm kind of hoping he chooses Ray, but we'll see. But Jake was very sure about the fact that he wasn't going to connect with anybody. Like, he kept saying, like, I don't see myself really vibing with anybody. Like, I love you so much, April. And then he saw Ray, and he was like, April who? Like, immediately. But also, can we just talk about when Jake went in on April? He was like, I learned a lot, too. I learned that you be an a-hole to me, and I know that you have fertility issues, but you don't need to be taking it out on me. I was like, wait a minute. That escalated quickly, because you initially said that you came here not for anything else, like you only had eyes for her, and now all of a sudden you like throwing her under the bus with fertility issues? Like, sir, please, come on now. I'm predicting that, like I said, I'm predicting that Ray and Jake end up getting together, so that will leave April outside. Not to mention that April and Colby are the only ones who ended up with people they didn't actually like, so we already know what's happening there. But who knows, they might end up being, you know, most compatible. Okay, let's talk about this couple. Let's talk about Lauren and Nathan. First off, they're another couple that I'm like, how did y'all even end up together? Like, they have such huge differences. And even when it came down to the fact that they were all at dinner and they were picking their mates and all that stuff, and he ended up proposing to her, their differences are just so vast that it doesn't make sense. I do not think that two people can compromise on the issue of whether or not they want to have kids. It's like Lauren was saying, it's not a compromise, it ends up being a sacrifice. That's not something you change your mind on. Like, we know we come afar as a society, and we all know, like, if people say they don't like, especially for women, people be like, oh, like, you'll grow into it, like, you'll want kids one day, just wait till you turn this or wait till you turn that. Like, no, people know if they want kids or not. They're not, I don't feel like that's something you can change your mind on. And the fact that he proposed to her at the end of the day and was like, I'm willing to do this, I think was a mistake on his part, and I think he's gonna regret it. If they end up getting married, one of them is gonna do something that they regret. Either it's gonna be Nathan if he doesn't have a kid, or it's gonna be Lauren if she feels like she's pressured into having a kid with him. Like, I'm not seeing that situation work out, and I do think it was a little, my girl April stood up at the table and said that was a fake proposal, and I tend to agree with her. It did seem a little fake after the other proposal that had happened before that. I literally think he felt threatened and triggered, and that's the only reason he did it. And that's why I agree with April about the fact that it looked fake. In his confessional, his interview, he literally said, oh, like, I can't believe, you know, Kobe's over here trying to be this big cheese, and like, how dare, like, you know what I mean? Like, he felt threatened by him, so he was like, oh, I better do this right now. And Lauren said yes, and I feel like she said yes in the spur of the moment and all that, but she should have really said no. They don't agree on kids, it's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna work out. Okay, also, can we just talk about Randall for a second? I see all the girls swooning over him, but maybe it's just the 90s kid in me, but every time I hear Randall's name, I just think about that kid from Recess.
Miss Finster! Ah, Randall, just the boy I was looking for.
Like, don't y'all think about that kid from I can't take his name seriously, I'm sorry. But he is an attractive guy, and yeah, we'll see where that goes. And of course the lawnmower is outside. You know what? Because I just be trying to be great, and it's like they lawn mow every day. Who does that every day? And this is the time when the sun is optimal. Anyway, I digress. We're gonna finish talking about this. Randall is the one that was with Shanice, right? Or was Shanice with? Regardless, Madlyn is all over Randall, and I feel like she gonna end up leaving with him. I don't know if he would choose her back, but I feel like she might choose him at the end of the day. Okay, let's talk about Alexis. Now, I have an unpopular opinion on Alexis now. I do have some opinions on her, but I have a little bit of an unpopular opinion on her. When she was talking to Kobe and they were by the pool at the first initial meet, and she was saying, like, I need a guy to be making this much money, and like, this is the lifestyle I want to live. A lot of people are gonna look at that and be like, she's a gold digger, like, where's Kanye because he made that song for her. But I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I don't find that to be gold digger activity. I'm sorry. Like, what's wrong with saying that you want somebody that's gonna put you in a certain tax bracket and allow you to live a certain lifestyle? Like, I don't understand what's wrong with that. As long as the guy knows that that's what you want out of it. To me, it's no different than a woman or anyone being like, I want to be a stay-at-home parent. Like, yeah, if you spring that on somebody after the fact, maybe y'all need to have a deeper conversation. But of course, if you're going to be the stay-at-home parent, then that person's going to be the breadwinner. So I don't really see the problem with her being like, if he doesn't make this much money, then we wouldn't be together. I'm sorry. I know that's not a popular opinion, but I don't see that as her being a go dare. But it did immediately turn Kobe off. And then she was like, oh, bet you don't like me? And then she just went in on his butt. Like, she was like, I don't think he's a good guy. Red flag, tomatoes, tomatoes, tomatoes. I'm throwing tomatoes. Like, and I think that part of the reason that she really went in on him is because of the fact that he wasn't attracted to her. Because had Kobe said yes to her and did the swap, then she would have been with Kobe. But, you know, hey, her man did end up proposing at the table, and I love that for her. Okay, so let's get into my boy Zay, not Isaiah like April tried to say. I like Zay, I do. I think he is a good guy. I think he is marriage minded and he's focused towards that. But I did see in one of his interviews, his like confessional interviews, I heard him say that he's still in college and trying to figure that out. Now, I just don't think that he's with Ray. He's the one that's with Ray, Zay and Ray. I don't think that he's on the same page as Ray, and that's unfortunate to say. Like, this comes to the conversation of whether or not she should be willing to wait for him to catch up. I don't know. Like, I spoke about this the other day on my Instagram, but like, at a certain point in my life when I was younger, I would have been willing to wait for that. I would have been willing to wait for the catch up. But at this point in my life, I'm not waiting. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not waiting for you to catch up. So the fact that he's still in college, not that there's anything wrong with it, because I also graduated college really late, but because she does want marriage and she does want kids and she wants that like right now, I just don't think he's in a place to give that to her, and I don't think they should be together. I know. He's a great guy, but they're not on the same page. They're not on the same page. Okay, y'all, so that was my recap and my thoughts on episodes 1 through 3. I'm gonna be back next week with 4. Yo, I can't count. 4 through 6. I guess that's 3 more. 4 through 6, and then I guess I can do 7 and 8 by themselves. So I guess I'm dropping 2 videos on this next week. But anyway, let me know y'all thoughts on these episodes. Try not to drop any more spoilers because I'm really trying to keep it as spoil free as possible. Who are you predicting right now will end up either breaking up or getting with a new person, or what's happening? Like, let me know your predictions on the end of the show, and we'll be back here next week to talk about the rest of it, and I'll see y'all later.